The immortal legacy of Hulk Hogan, larger than life, flawed like the rest of us. If you grew up in the 1980s or 90s, chances are the name Hulk Hogan wasn't just familiar, it was practically gospel. That booming voice yelling, "What you gonna do, brother?" echoed through living rooms, school hallways, and playgrounds. For millions of kids, Hulk Hogan wasn't just a wrestler. He was a superhero made real, a muscle-bound force in red and yellow who stood for good, for victory, and for America. Hogan turned wrestling into something you had to watch. He didn't just fill arenas, he filled imaginations. The power of Hulkamania. To understand what Hulk Hogan meant to a generation, picture this. A cassette tape from 1995 titled Hulk Rules. Yes, a real music album. On the cover, Hogan in full glory, bulging muscles, golden tan, red bandana, standing tall in front of the American flag. And on the inside, a line declaring him the most powerful force in the universe. Now, adults today may laugh at that kind of over-the-top bravado, but back then, kids didn't just believe it, they knew it. Hogan didn't just entertain, he captivated. He was a walking comic book, a symbol of justice who tore his shirt in half and body-slammed villains on Saturday mornings. To a wide-eyed 8-year-old, there was no one bigger, but the story of Hulk Hogan, real name Terry Bollea, isn't just one of glory. It's one layered with transformation, controversy, reinvention, and contradiction. Because the man behind the mustache, like all icons, wasn't perfect. The rise, the fall, and the reinvention. When Hogan's death at 71 made headlines, fans were reminded of all his different versions. Some remembered the ultimate good guy, the Hulkster who told us to say our prayers and take our vitamins. Others thought of Hollywood Hogan, the black-clad villain who turned the wrestling world upside down with his infamous heel turn at Bash at the Beach in 1996. And then, of course, there were the headlines, the racist remarks, the sex tape scandal, the lawsuits, the awkward political statements, and the crowd boos during his later WWE cameos. Every era of Hogan felt like a new layer, a complicated stack of highs, lows, and unforgettable moments. Now that he's gone, there won't be any new chapters. What remains is the full, complex picture. And that picture is one of a man who shaped the wrestling industry like few others ever could. The WrestleMania legend, if you had to pick a single match that defines Hogan's legacy, many would point to WrestleMania III, Hogan versus Andre the Giant. It wasn't a technical masterpiece, but the energy was electric. Hogan body-slammed the undefeated Giant in a moment that became wrestling lore. That move that night helped solidify the WWF, now WWE, as a mainstream powerhouse. But there were others too. Hogan versus Macho Man Randy Savage at WrestleMania V, the implosion of the mega powers. Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania VI, a symbolic passing of the torch. And of course, Hogan versus The Rock at WrestleMania X8, an unforgettable showdown between two generations. That face-off alone had more electricity than the lights above the ring. The heel. Turn that changed everything. Still, all of those moments pale in comparison to what happened one summer night in Daytona Beach in 1996. At Bash at the Beach, Hulk Hogan, the Golden Boy, the All-American hero, walked out to what fans thought was a rescue. Instead, he turned on them. He betrayed his legacy, dropped leg after leg on Randy Savage, and joined forces with The Outsiders Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. That night, the New World Order, NWO, was born, and wrestling was never the same. It was, without question, the most impactful heel turn in wrestling history. Fans were stunned. They hurled trash into the ring. One even tried to attack Hogan. That moment wasn't just a storyline twist. It was a cultural earthquake. Hogan had shattered everything we thought we knew. And it worked. UCW's ratings soared. WWE was forced to evolve, giving birth to the gritty Attitude Era. Suddenly, wrestling wasn't just for kids. It was for everyone. Hogan's final chapters. Even in his later years, Hogan's presence remained powerful. He returned, reinvented, and sometimes stumbled, but he was always talked about. He put over future stars like Goldberg. He passed the torch to The Rock. He remained, whether beloved or controversial, a name no wrestling fan could ignore. Even today, comparisons to Hogan's legendary heel turn still define modern wrestling storylines. When John Cena shockingly turned this year, fans didn't think of anyone else. They went right back to 1996. That moment has become wrestling's version of a historical landmark. The complicated truth. What do we do with all of this? Some fans struggle to separate the hero from the man. After all, childhood memories are powerful, and when the person behind those memories disappoints, it hits differently. But death has a way of softening the edges. Time, too. And while Hogan's off-camera legacy is messy, his on-screen influence is undeniable. Wrestling, from the golden age to today's global phenomenon, can't be written without Hulk Hogan. He helped build it, break it, reinvent it, and carry it through 5 different decades. He wasn't perfect, far from it. But what he did inside the ring, that changed everything. So let's allow the story to be complicated, because complicated doesn't mean false. It means real. Then, just once more, let the music hit. Picture him flexing, ripping that shirt, standing tall under the bright lights. Remember what it felt like when the biggest force in the universe wasn't a concept. It was a man with a mustache, a bandana, and an entire generation behind him. Rest in power, Hulk Hogan.
For full video, click related link below or like and subscribe this channel.